Welcome to SVGTV News for Friday, October 4th, 2019. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is advising pharmacies here that the sale of the popular heartburn medication Zantac is to be discontinued until further notice. The ministry says the recall follows the Food and Drug Administration's warning that low levels of cancer-causing chemical were detected in samples of the drug. The FDA has said it is investigating where the contamination has come from as well as the risk to patients. The news release from the Ministry of Health said Zantac, which is also known as ranitidine, has not been recalled in the U.S., but companies selling the drug have responded with an abundance of caution to the FDA findings, even inviting customers who have brought the products to return them for a refund. The Ministry of Health said it supports the USA regulatory body's recommendation that patients talk to their doctors and that those patients who take over-the-counter versions consider switching to a different medication. The ministry said that it has also determined that no local pharmacies reported having ranitidine products manufactured by Sandoz or Opetex, and that their officers will be making spot checks at pharmacies to ensure that the drug is no longer being offered for sale to the public. The public is also being asked to be vigilant on this matter in their own interest. In other news, 45-year-old prison officer Louis Cupid of Murray's Village was today charged for conspiracy and corruption and was denied bail when he appeared before Chief Magistrate Ration Brown at the Serious Offences Court. The prison officer, who is being represented by Grant Connell and Joseph Dells, pleaded not guilty to the charges. The court heard that between September 29th and October 2nd, 2019, at Her Majesty's Prison in Kingstown, Cupid, being a prison officer, abused the authority of his office by doing an arbitrary act prejudice to the rights of the Superintendent of Prisons, to wit, conspire to aid the escape of Veron Primus from lawful custody. The second charge read that on the same date, the prison officer agreed with the murder accused that a course of conduct shall be pursued, which, if the agreement was carried out in accordance with his intention, would amount to the commission of the offense of escaping lawful custody. Senior Prosecutor Adolphus Delflesh objected to Cupid's bail, noting that the investigation into the prison break is ongoing and is at a delicate stage. The prosecutor also noted that the matter is a concern of national security. Cupid's lawyer, Grant Connell, appealed for bail based on the grounds that a person is innocent until proven guilty. He also said that Cupid has a family to support as he is the sole breadwinner. Connell pointed out to the court that 4 prison officers were taken into custody and only his client is before the court facing the 2 charges. Connell further argued that Cupid, who has sufficient ties to the jurisdiction as of inception, was being employed with the prison service for a significant period of time and can supply his surety if needs be for his bail. After hearing the lawyer's arguments, the Chief Magistrate denied bail and said she considered the nature of the charges and the representation by prosecution and defense and was therefore denying bail because of the serious nature of the charges. The next hearing in the matter is on Friday, October 11, 2019, when the Chief Magistrate said she will review bail. Also making an appearance in court today was 20-year-old Kieron Samuel of Evesham, who is facing a charge of murder. Samuel is accused of killing his father, George Coburn Samuel, who was discovered on Tuesday night in a shallow grave in close proximity to their dwelling house. Given the fact that a murder charge is indictable by law, the youngster was denied bail and was remanded into custody. The murder charge, which was read by Chief Magistrate Ration Brown, states that between September 29th and October 1st, the young Samuel did with malice aforethought cause the death of his father, George Benjamin Samuel, by an unlawful act. The youngster was not required to plead, as the Chief Magistrate pointed out that there will be a preliminary hearing for January 7, 2020 to ascertain whether there is enough evidence for him to stand trial in the High Court. Thus far, there are reportedly 14 prosecution witnesses to be called up. The young Samuel was not represented and was escorted to and from the court by police investigators. On Tuesday, George Samuel's body was found by a search party close to his house in Evesham. His two sons who live with him were taken into custody. The elder son was released while the younger Samuel was kept in custody until he was charged with the offense of murder. A number of local and regional products and services will again be on showcase at this year's Invest SVG Everything Vinci Expo, which will be held at the Geese Shed starting from October 24th and ends on October 30th. Though an exact number was not given at this week's media conference, where the plans for the 40th Independence Anniversary celebrations were outlined, Invest SVG's marketing officer, Angela Young, said they expect increased participation this year.
Participants from throughout the region, we have from St. Kitts, Guyana, Trinidad, St. Lucia, and Grenada. So it's not just St. Vincent. Although it says everything Vinci, we must include our neighboring islands because it's our 40th anniversary and we have to make it bigger and better.
A number of Cubans and Venezuelans will also be participating in the food exhibition during the expo, which promises lots of fun and entertainment for patrons who will be visiting the various booths. Young said that they have also catered for all groups as they seek to attract a wide cross-section of persons to the expo over the Independence weekend.
We invite everybody to come across and have a good time. During the day, we will be having events, customs and tradition. We will have the cake dance from Union Island. We have the drummers from Rose Hall. We have lots of other local performances during the day, and in the evening of that Friday we will be having the Miss Heritage pageant, which is by Girls High School. On the Saturday we will be doing soca, salsa and steel pan. That's in the evening. So there will be performances from all the top soca artists, and as well as the top 3 steel pan in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The National Song and National Wear competitions will also be part of the Independence celebration activities. Young said they are also hoping to attract a large crowd to these events.
And then the Wednesday, we have From Beckway with Love, where the band Infinity will provide entertainment all afternoon, and then the evening will be the closing ceremony and awards for all the persons who are participating in the Everything Vinci Expo. So it's a really packed program for the Everything Vinci, and there are a lot of things that we have to look forward to when you come to the Everything Vinci, and we do hope that we will get the participation even bigger and better than last year, because in 2018 we were really overwhelmed with the kind of support that we got from the general public for the Everything Vinci. So, and don't forget, when you come Independence Day, please come in your national colors. So, because we are doing a special prize for persons adjudged the best outfit for the national color for that day. So.
And a special emphasis is being placed on the elderly during this month's Independence Celebration activities. Coordinator of the Renewal at 40 program, Elvis Charles, said busloads of elderly persons have already been on several field trips, which he said were well received, and that there are other activities that they will be part of in the weeks and months ahead.
We took about 70 elderly from the leeward side of the country, and we towed them all the way to the windward side. We stopped at various points, the Belmont Lookout, where they look down in the valley and see the great Mespo Valley. We took them to the AIA, where you heard them, wow, yes, they behave like kids, but they had all right too. Then we journeyed all the way up to Chateauguay Park in Georgetown, and we stayed there and refreshed ourselves. Then down to the Black Point Center, controlled by the NIS. We had lunch, and we found time to socialize, to talk. The very next week, we took over 120 elderly from the windward side of St. Vincent, and we towed them all the way down to the leeward side. It was just an exchange of destination.
Charles noted that for too long the elderly have been ignored and have stayed indoors with not much to do during the independence celebrations, but this year they are hoping they will be part of the action.
I love the elderly because I believe they have been pushed aside for too long. Elderlies, to me, are confined to the porches and the dark recesses of the bedroom. And I think it is unfair, and we as Vincentians, we have to take note of this and start treating the elderlies with respect and honor, because they are the ones who guided us to this point. Because of that, Renewal at 40 organized activities, bus tours for the elderly.
The Renewal at 40 committee hopes to continue with their programs into 2020, which include more field trips for the elderly. Community activist Selwyn Patterson is appealing for the business community to get more involved in activities geared at protecting the environment. Patterson was at the time speaking with our news team during a visit to the Richmond Bay earlier this week to examine work being done to protect the area from the effects of coastal erosion. The area was once a recreational site, but after the December 2013 floods, it became a shell of itself, with sea level rise threatening to erode the entire bay. The Richmond Vale Academy, along with the Police Cooperative Credit Union, the Forestry Services Department, embarked on an ambitious exercise in 2015 to plant mangroves and other trees to create a buffer zone to protect the bay area from further coastal erosion. Bavin Oliver tells us more in this report.
The 2013 flash floods in SVG took the life of several persons, including 4 members from one family on the leeward side of the island. It also destroyed several infrastructure and caused extensive damage to the environment. The devastation exposed how vulnerable SVG and other small island states are to the effects of climate change and how important it is to take care of the natural environment. The Richmond Bay is one area which received extensive damage during the 2013 floods. Community activist Selwyn Patterson said the area is rich in biodiversity and provides a livelihood for a number of residents. Patterson used the opportunity to highlight the rich variety of trees which were planted in the area to protect it from further erosion.
We have the fat pork, we have the white mangroves, the red mangroves, we have the sea grape, we have neem, soursop, coconut, and other almond trees and so on, because we want to protect this to buff the sea water if when it rise, so that it won't reach the road as fast. So it will be a buffer zone for the water. We have done this maybe 4 years now, and we are seeing that the trees, they are growing very well and so on. So we still see the water, and they have fishes inside. They will have frogs and many other things. So it's a cycle of different lives in the water here. So it's a very good area where people, I saw someone this morning come and get their passion fruit here as well.
Patson said the exercise also focuses on educating members of the community on the importance of trees and protecting the environment.
We have groups from England who come and plant here as well. We have groups that we put together to come and plant. So we have persons who want to take care of the environment, and we make them community activists, where they will also go and plant different areas and so on. So it's not only to plant trees, but to give them the education about what the beneficial of trees and why we plant trees. Especially when we plant these trees, we give a lot of education on the trees that we plant, the use of them, like the red mangroves, how it grow above the water with its roots. It's good to use as charcoal, the sour sap, and how the beneficial of sour sap and so on. So we not just only plant trees, but we give the education on why we plant trees and the beneficial of the tree and so on. So a lot of community groups come here and plant with us, and I see persons in Chateaublay. We went on Chateaublay Beach and planted with them again, and so we continue with them, and so on. So persons get the education of and why we're doing it.
The community activists said the business community should get more involved in activities which protects the environment, which will help cushion the effects of climate change.
So of course, I think the businesses should come on board and help us to protect these areas, because these areas are areas that persons may neglect and think, well, they don't benefit the community. Long ago in Richmond, the persons from that side of the island, the windward side of the island, will come to North Leeward, and then North Leeward will go to windward when there is a holiday. So this area was an area of big activity, picnics and all that, but then since we're losing the beach and so on, because this area was sink long before, and so on. So when we lost these things, then we don't no more have no livelihood. But if we can come back with those persons who are benefiting from these areas and put back in something, I think the community will really appreciate, and they will happy to get on board to help to reforest these areas.
For SVGTV's Evening News, I am Bavin Oliver.
Thank you, Bavin. Backyard gardens are a good way for persons to ensure their own food security, as well as to create a livelihood for themselves and their families. Such gardens are also a good way to reduce the amount of chemicals used in food production, thus ensuring clean, safe food for consumption. As part of the activities to promote clean organic farming practices and a clean environment, the Richmond Vale Academy has been working with residents of North Leeward in creating their own backyard gardens. Director of the Richmond Vale Academy, Steiner Herberg, said the knowledge which is being passed on to residents comes from much work and research into producing chemical-free food with good yields. Herberg said so far they have received good results from the backyard farming program, and the academy aims to take backyard gardening to every community across SVG.
Right now we have, together with all the different people and stakeholders, been able to spearhead making 50 models in North Leeward. 10 models are about to be made in Fancy, and the next 10 models will be in barley. So the next 20 models in barley and Fancy will be finished by the end of February. And we are working on more grants for home gardens in Sandy Bay, more in the area of Vermont, Kittel, Clear Valley, and so on. And hopefully we could get through to funding so that there can be a model in every village. Because somehow it became kind of like almost a mystery. So how can you grow food without chemicals? And it became such a habit. that it takes some time. You need to see it, you need to try it, you need to hear it from your neighbor, maybe you need to taste it. So there are various ways that people will find a way to get on board ecological farming without chemicals, and also at your farm reduce the amount of pesticides. Because maybe you can't get off it right away, fine, take your time, start learning, and then let's get out of using these chemicals that are poisoning the planet.
Our news team visited some of the backyard gardens in Pittibidel, which are producing good varieties of fruits, vegetables, and ground provisions, all chemical-free. Community activist and representative of the Richmond Vale Academy, Selwyn Patterson, explained some of the farming techniques which are taught to the residents.
Yeah, this was just dirt, and what we have done is that we came and we put in some system, because we are catering one for the sun and for the water. So we put the vetiver grass that will control the water, and we put drainage. Then we put bamboo and so on, so it can hold the terraces and so on. So then we mulch and put different, like we can use back the vetiver grass, but as you notice that they have put the seaweed. You know, so they are using the seaweed and so on. And then we are putting plants that will benefit each other. So we had mixed cropping, but it should be beneficial to each other, so that for insect, because this is organic farming, so we are not going to use any fertilizer, any chemical or anything. You know, so we are putting plants that will be beneficial to each other.
Patterson encouraged the residents to pay close attention to their gardens and highlighted the benefits of mulching.
You know, so which means that they are doing very well. It will produce, if you do your good mulching, your composting, and you keep on, you know, you be in your garden. Make sure that your garden doesn't have a lot of weeds. And so on. So it's the amount of time that you spend in the garden will produce for you. You know, mulching is very important in that when you mulch, it helps the sun from not taking out all of the moisture, but also when the rain comes, it won't beat the organism and take it out as well. But when it is decomposed, it is a fertilizer. You know, so mulching is very important in this system that we are doing. It will keep the weeds down, so you don't have to do much in the garden, but it will go back to the soil and serve as a fertilizer. So mulching is very, very important in this system.
Our news team also spoke with some of the residents of North Leeward, including Marie Pear, who has quite a large backyard garden, which includes at least 7 varieties of fruits and vegetables. Pear, as well as other residents of Pittibidel, highlighted the significance of their gardens and shared some advice with other householders in the community and across SVG.
Actually, I have vegetables. I have like carrots, sweet pepper, cabbage, lettuce. I have kale, eggplant, peppers, pumpkin, okras, corn, quite a bit.
All right, and how difficult was it to, get everything set up?
It wasn't that difficult. I have some help with the Richmond Vale people them, so it wasn't that difficult. Once you maintain it every day, it will be easy, right? So it's not that difficult. Once you come in the garden every day, it will not be a hard task. It will be okay. So I think it will be much beneficial for them. In other words, it finance, help them save money, and at the same time they will eat healthy, knowing that you plant your own, which is organic, no chemical, much healthier for you.
You think there should be a backyard garden like this in every home?
Yes, I think so. I think it is very important to have such a garden because of the chemical that they normally use. It is not healthy, and it is right here. She gets up at mornings and she comes here. This is the first thing that she does at mornings.